Alright guys, so we're going to talk about today is mapping boundaries with our gator or our players or side by side or whatever brand it may be. Just going to kind of go over some quick tips and tricks just as far as in the display. So if you have a bunch of boundaries to map, these can help you out, save you a few button pushes, adding some shortcuts and maybe a run page setup that you might like and see. And then also kind of go over the client form field structure that we're supposed to use when we're mapping boundaries. That way we can export them out and then get them into Op Center, and then we can do the back end of the work through Op Center. So just kind of what I want to start off with is add some shortcuts. So two shortcuts I like to have when I'm doing my boundary mapping is down here. I'll go to Menu, Applications, go to Layout Manager, and I'll come up here and edit my shortcut bar. So I'm just going to get rid of two shortcuts here, remove. So one thing I like to add here, I'd like to add this fields and boundary shortcut. So it's a quick shortcut to start recording a boundary. And then another one I like to add, not that one, is the flags shortcut. So if you're out mapping a bunch of boundaries, you might as well go and drop flags if you need to, whether it may be a sinkhole or some obstacle in the field or some spot you need to come back and revisit or a tile line, whatever it may be. I like to add this shortcut on the bottom of there, so like I said, I don't have to go through a bunch of button pushes just to add a flag, so I'm going to add that. I'll hit save. I'll go ahead and set up this run page 2. Just so we can look at it and see, but for this instance, I'll name it mapping. And then let's hit remove. And what I like to do when I'm doing boundary mapping, so this is all personal preference, but I like to have just one big map page. So I'll come in here and click Add Module. I'll go to Mapping, and I'll find me one big map right there. And I'll hit Save. Save. I'll exit out that. So now I have my map page right here, and as you can see down here, I have the flags icon and then the boundary icon. So I'll get into the client form field structure now. So we'll hit the setup button down here. So when we're mapping boundaries, what we want to do is we want to have our client and farm and field, and then for every polygon we map within that field, we want to rename it each time we start a new polygon. So for this instance, we'll have South 40. We'll hit OK. So we're going to map the polygon we're going to map the first polygon in South 40. So we can come over here and click our shortcut bar and click boundary. We're going to do driven standard boundary. Then here we can tell it whether or not we want to do an offset location. So if the receiver is mounted directly in the center of the gator, then we can shift it to the right by 2 or 3 feet. That way it thinks it's right above our head. Whatever you want to do there. And then as far as our boundary name, if you want to name this boundary, fine. I like to leave it the name of the field. That way we can, once we're in the back end of Operations Center, we can kind of sort some of this stuff out. So we'll hit start recording. So now we're on this recording page. You don't have to stay on this page. You can actually exit out of it right here, and then you can go out, start doing your mapping. If anytime you need to pause the recording, so if there's like a tree down in the middle of your way, you can click back here. Still shows you recording, hit that pause button, drive around the tree, come back, and then hit resume and start recording again. And then, like I said, if you have any flags that you want to drop, you need to wait till you're done recording the polygon, but you can come out there and drop flags with that shortcut there. So let's say in this instance, we're done recording, so we'll come over here, we'll hit save. So we're done recording now, we have our boundary. We finished a polygon. We have another shape on that farm that we want to do. What we'll want to do here is, for example, we'll say South 40, we'll add a new field, and we will call it South 40, and then 2, or, South 40 parentheses 2 parentheses. Whatever form you want to name it. This is just so for on the back end when we go in to merge all these polygons so they come in as one farm. That way we can do this on the back end. It helps us on the back end so we don't have to go through and sort out all these random polygons. We know which which client and farm they're associated to. So we'll do that. We'll hit save. So now we have 2 South 40s. We'll hit OK again. And then we're on the next polygon of that South 40 farm. And we'll go out and we'll map the polygon again by clicking on our boundary. Polygon starting point and end point are the same. So you go out, hit start, drive all the way around, come back to your starting point, hit save, and then we're done with that boundary. And you do it again for each one. So that's all you have to do there. Like I said, this was just a video to have some short tips and tricks, help you go over some things as far as recording boundaries.